I'm just going to do a quick video really on my bikes, and it's a bit of an introduction to Zwift. If you're thinking about getting into it, I'm going to try and make this a basic video because there's a lot of things that people don't understand about Zwift, so hopefully you'll find this of interest. I'm going to just go over my bikes though first really. So this is my mountain bike, which I've had probably about 20 odd years, and this is the story of how I got into Zwift really. So I bought this from Halfords probably around about 2002, I would say. It's a Carrera Zelos. They don't make this mountain bike still. I think that you can buy. I think you can still buy a Zelos from Halfords, but I think it's a road bike now, not a mountain bike. It's a really light bike. This is. It was kind of like the top of the range at the time. It was about £1,000. It had Hope hydraulic brakes on it, XT Dior gear shifters. It was quite well spec'd bike. So what have I done to it? Well, last year, we all know about COVID, end of March, April, couldn't go to the gym anymore, wanted to keep fit, so got into cycling. And so what I did with this, I got some road tyres on it, which are not currently on it. I put new brakes on because the Hope brakes, they'd been on there a long time, and I couldn't seem to get them to bleed very well. So I put new brakes on there, the Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, and you just buy them as a kit and install them. They were very easy to fit. You can adjust the throw on the levers. What else did I do? Oh, I put a new chain on it. It's on its second chain now because I've done over 2,000 miles on this. I also put a new cassette on it recently. So the cassette and the chain are SRAM. These are rock tyres on there at the moment. They're not amazing. They're a bit round, to be honest, I've found, off-road. So there you go guys, that's my mountain bike, and I did 2,000 miles on that last year. And I decided I wanted to get into and try a road bike. I also had to replace the front suspension. The seals literally blew out on the old one. So I sourced these RockShox, Rox Judy. That's the lockout to stop the suspension forks being suspension forks. Oh, I also put the wide bar on because it was just a style of riding that I preferred. So that's my mountain bike, and it still is a mountain bike. I got the next bike you're going to see from Cycle to Work scheme. So here you go, this was the bike I got on the Cycle to Work scheme. I didn't go totally mad. It was £780. It's a Orbea Avant. I think it's an M50. But it's got Sora group set on it. I've had not really done anything to it, to be honest. It's as it is. It's carbon forks. It's a relatively light bike. It's nice to ride, really nice to ride. Unfortunately, I lost my job in the October, so I had to pay for it instead of continuing to pay on the Cycle to Ride scheme. You can use, so that's my fluid trainer, okay, and it's Unisky, and you can pretty much use any bike on a trainer, okay. The mountain bike that I just showed you, you can't operate with tyres like that on. So you need smooth tyres, and you can get specific tyres for going on trainers. I've done a few hundred miles on this, and there's no visible wear or anything on the tyre. I've probably done, I don't know, 400 miles on it so far. That thing does get really hot, by the way. So how much tension do you put on this? About once this goes up and touches the tyre, 1.5 to 2 turns. But so there's not a massive amount of tension on there. Okay. So the other things that you need for Zwift, these sensors. So you can see on the hub there. So that is a speed sensor, and then there is another one on the pedal crank. Okay, I'll put the links in below. So there's another one on there, and that's a Cadence Sensor, and so they are both connected to my iPad, and they give Zwift information about how fast I'm pedaling and how fast my wheels go in. This is what's called a dumb trainer, because it does not interact with Zwift. But the speed sensor and the cadence sensor, there are calculations done in Zwift, and it will calculate how much power I am doing, given what trainer I tell it I'm on. This trainer's not in Zwift, so it's just under other. But basically it's a generic amount of power that is needed to drive that thing, and from that it gives a rough estimation of power. So what else do we need? We've got the front wheel on a little thing there, and the only reason that's there is to keep the bike level, instead of you thinking that you're pointing downhill. Okay, so I use my iPad, but there are many other things that you can use to operate Zwift, and I have got a really cheap telly from Facebook Marketplace and connected it to the iPad. So you can see on the screen, I'll show you on that screen, you can see on the screen that it's connected to the cadence sensor and the speed sensor, and if I had my heart rate monitor on, it would have connected to that as well, but I haven't got that on just now. Okay, so I'm going to get on the bike and get the connection going with Zwift, and I'm just going to tell you what some of the things are on the screen and tell you about some of the things that I've discovered. Okay, you obviously have to create an account with Zwift, and you get, I think it's 7 days free, and then it's 15 quid a month, 15.99 a month. Is it worth it? If you're going to use it and you want to try and keep your fitness up during the winter, because let's face it, you can't get out on the road at the minute, the way the roads are with the road bike, and it is so cold as well. So do you want to invest in a shed load of money to get out on your road bike when it's like -2, -5, whatever, and raining, snowing or whatever? You're going to need different tyres to what you're riding in the summer. So for £15.99 a month, yeah, it's worth it, because you're going to spend a couple £100 getting kitted up to go out in the winter. I wear my summer kit in here when I'm on the bike. It's probably 0 degrees in here right now, but it's been colder this week. Within about 6 minutes, I'm getting hot and I'm starting to sweat. Okay, so I also got a 20-inch fan, and I point that fan in my general direction when I get going, and it kind of helps to keep me cool. Seriously, you do get hot. You do get hot. Right, so we've started with that screen. we're connected to our sensors. You sometimes might just have to pedal a couple of rotations to wake them up. Okay, so you select let's go. So you get what they call guest worlds with Zwift, and today we've got Richmond Park in London, and we've got London. Click on routes and you get the various routes that are available for that day, and it will tell you how much you're going to climb. So this one's going to be 836 feet ascent during the whole ride. So that could be one massive ascent of 800 feet or lots of little ones during the 12 miles. Okay, obviously the Surrey Hills, 2,877 feet you're going to climb on that ride. It's over 24 miles, and you can scroll through them and choose which one you want. Obviously that's quite a serious one. PRL full, it's 107.7 miles, and you're going to climb 8,600 feet during that ride. That's a serious ride. So once you've chosen your ride, okay, you select go. If you're happy with everything else, this is the calendar with things that's coming up. If you're happy with everything else, click on ride. That tells you your goal, that's where you're up to. So I've done 59 of 100 miles this week. So click on ride if you're happy with everything else. And then Zwift loads all the information and basically goes to the beginning of the ride. So here you are, this is your avatar. And then all the other riders that are on doing this ride will start appearing. And this here is a list of people that are near you. I'm just going to turn the volume down on that a little bit. Oh. Okay, so the screen up in the top here is the main bit of stuff that you need to know, and in there it will tell you how many watts you're putting out at the time. If you've got a smart trainer, that will obviously communicate with Zwift. And if you've got a smart trainer, Zwift will communicate with that trainer, and it will interact with it and change the amount of power that you need to put in, whether you're going up or down hills. Mine's a dumb trainer, that will just show how many watts I'm putting in, that it will calculate given how fast my back wheel's going. Also on there is the cadence, and it will show how fast my pedals are going. And also there, if I had one connected just now, my heart rate. And then up here, that is the speed of your avatar. Okay, so that will depend on whether the course is going up or down, and depending on how much power you're putting in will determine how fast your avatar's going. Obviously if you're going up a hill and you're not putting a lot of power in, he will only be doing 2, 3, 4 mile an hour. That's your total distance travelled, and that is the cumulative ascent. Okay, and that's your elapsed time. That's what level you're on. I'm currently on level 9, and that's how many people are currently on Zwift. And at the minute there's about 380,000 people. So this data over here is for people that have finished the ride and what position they're in. It will show what position you are in when you finished. And then this data here, this is people that are immediately near you. So in front of you, behind you, and in time. And it shows how much power you're putting out and how far you've travelled. This little box up here, that shows the ascent or descent in percentage of gradient. It shows you a little sort of relief map there of the course, intermediate, start and finish lines, and that little blob there is you. So that's pretty much everything. So what we'll do, I'll get pedaling and just tell you what's happening when we've started. Okay, so I've started pedaling I'm not going to be going particularly fast. You can probably hear how noisy the trainer is in the background. It just makes a constant whir, really. So in the top left you can see that my cadence is 71 and the power that I'm putting out is 80 watts, and that is making my avatar do 18-19 miles an hour. Okay, we're just coming up to the start line. And you can see their little banner comes up, London Loop, and the timer has started. You can also see the ascent building up. It's at 7 feet at the minute, and he's only doing 8 miles an hour now because I'm not putting much power in. So the avatar will pedal as fast as you're pedaling. So I've stopped pedaling, he will stop pedaling, and he'll just sit there and wait. When he's actually stopped, the menu button comes up and you can end the ride. Okay, so the menu button comes up, and if you decide you've had enough, you press the menu, and then that is the summary of your ride. Obviously there's very little information there, but in this menu you can go into the garage, you can customize your avatar, your bike. So there's the avatar. So you can customize the avatar, make him look different. Also guys, when you first set up your account, you put your weight in, and given how much power you put in, your weight is taken into account, and so on the information there it will tell you how many watts per kilogram you're putting in. That is dependent on how heavy you tell it you are, so you need to be accurate when you tell Zwift your weight, because from that it will determine how much power you're putting in. You can see some of those riders there, between about 1.4 and 3.3 watts per kilogram. Obviously the higher up the scale, the lot fitter those people are, a lot more effort they're putting in. So there you go, it's a very quick overview, but I did want to try and keep it simple. Best thing to do is just get stuck in and have a go. What I'm going to show you now is the what's called a companion app. Okay, so as well as running the Zwift app on the iPad, that is showing me what's on the screen, there is something called a companion app. Okay, so I've got this on this holder on my bike, and basically there's loads and loads of things that you can do with the companion app. So you can give people ride-ons. If you click on the arrow there, you give all the people around you a ride-on. You can send messages to people on there that tells you what Zwifters you follow are nearby. That's your dashboard, tells you the basics if you want to leave it on that. I usually leave it on the map view, but it's got a little dashboard there that tells you, what your stats are at the time. You can take photos, so there's a little photo thing there, so you can take whatever you see on that screen, you can take a photo of it. Different views, so you see the symbol with the eye, so you can have different views. That one there shows the stats at the bottom of the screen, which is not showing on this particular view until I start pedaling. So that's the companion app, which you can do a lot of stuff with. Couple of little other things to tell you about. You're going to sweat a lot, you're going to drip all over the front of your bike. So have a little towel and usually just drape that over your crossbar, handlebars or whatever, just to catch the sweat off you, and also you can wipe your face while you're riding. It's a good idea as well, have some fluids available, and if you're going on a long ride, have something to eat as well, just like you would on a real bike ride. You know, you are actually like going on a real bike ride, but in one place. So you could have a table next to you and have things on it. You can still answer the phone, take phone calls, stuff like that, if you're capable of talking, that is. Music, I've got a Bluetooth speaker, which I have next to the bike, and I have music from that. Zwift does have its own music, but you can mute that because it's repetitive stuff that just goes over and over. It's a loop music, basically. That's pretty much it, really. If you need to have breaks like you would on a real bike ride, do so. Just get off, have a wander around. I do sometimes. So I hope I've covered the basics there. If you need to know anything, just put a comment underneath. I'll always answer, help you out if I can. It's really, really simple to get into Zwift, and that trainer was about 180 quid off Amazon. I'll put a link in if I can still find it, if it's still available. I found that most recommendations went towards a fluid trainer rather than a magnetic trainer. Some of the magnetic trainers apparently are really noisy, and you do have the facility to adjust how much effort you need to put into on a magnetic trainer. So they've got a little lever with 1 to 5, 1 to 6, and you can change the amount of resistance on the trainer. To be really honest, I wouldn't say that that is of any benefit to you, because you just change gear. On this, you just change gear. So as you change, or with a fluid trainer, the faster you try and turn it, the more resistance it gives. Because if you're in engineering, we use fluid couplings sometimes on motors, and basically when the motor's only going slow, there's a lot of slip. As the motor speeds up, the slip is less and less, and that's exactly the same with this. The faster you try and pedal that thing, the more effort is required. So if you want more effort, like if Zwift is going up a hill, you just change up, okay, and you need to put more effort in like you're climbing the hill. If you're going down a hill, change down, like so that your back wheel goes slower, and it's like you're going down the hill, and you will go pretty fast down a hill. Your avatar will go fast down the hill, but experiment with it and see how you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.